Hey guys, welcome to Chem Galaxy. So today I'm going to tell you that how can you calculate n factor for various elements. Alright, you know that n factor is very important basically in equivalent concepts, like when you study about equivalent weight, gram equivalent or normality, we need n factor to calculate these terms. Alright, so it is very important to understand what is n factor and basically how to calculate them for various elements. Alright, so today in this lecture I am going to tell you how to calculate the n factor of acids, bases, atoms and polyatomic molecules. Alright, and in the next video I am going to discuss about the rest of the elements like the n factor of oxidizing agent, reducing agents, alright, or the salts. Okay, so stick around, the video is very important for all of you. So now let's start. So as you all can see, the heading is n factor calculation. So first of all, I'm going to discuss some important points about n factor. So basically why we need to study n factor. Alright. So the first point is that n factor is used to calculate the equivalent weight. As I have told you in the beginning that the n factor is used basically in the equivalent concepts. Alright. So you see that the formula of equivalent weight is molecular weight into n factor. Alright. So if you don't know the n factor, you will not be able to calculate equivalent weight. Same thing goes with that the n factor is used to calculate gram equivalent, because you see the formula of gram equivalent is moles into n factor. Alright. Now the third point is that n factor is also used to calculate normality. Alright. So you see that the formula of normality is molarity into n factor. So if you don't know n factor, you will not be able to use or you will not be able to calculate normality basically, right? And the fourth point is that it is used in the titration experiments. Yes, whenever you do a titration experiment, there is always you are asked to make the solution in normality. Basically you are asked to make n by 100 or n by 10. All right, you are never asked to make the solution in molarity. The concentration should always be in normality while you are doing titration experiments. Alright, so if you don't know the n factor of whatever substance you are making the solution of, then you will not be able to make the appropriate solution. Alright, so that's why we study n factor and it is a very important topic. Alright, so now let us see how can we calculate n factor for various elements. So first of all I am going to tell you that how can you calculate n factor for acids. Alright, so basically the n factor of acid is its basicity. Now what is basicity of an acid? So the basicity of an acid is that the number of H plus ions that it liberates while in the water. Alright, the number of H plus ions it liberates in water. Alright, when you dissolve any acid in water, so the number of H plus ions it liberates, that is known as its basicity. Or you can also say that the number of OH minus ions an acid attract. Alright, mark my words, that the number of OH minus ions an acid attracts, that is known as its basicity. Alright, so the n factor of acid is that its basicity basically. Alright, so now I will tell you some examples, then it will be more clear to you. Alright, so you see the first example is hydrogen chloride or hydrochloric acid basically. Alright, so when hydrochloric acid is or the hydrogen chloride gas is dissolved in water, then you will get hydrochloric acid. Alright, so it will break as H plus and Cl minus. So you see in water HCl breaks as H plus and Cl minus, so it liberates only one H plus ion, it gives only one H plus ion. Alright, so the basicity is 1, so the n factor is also 1. Alright, now the second case is sulfuric acid. Alright, so you see in H2SO4 there are two ways of dissociation. Alright, the first way is that it liberates both the hydrogens, alright, as 2H plus and sulfate ion. Alright, so if it liberates or it gives 2H plus, then the n factor will be 2. Alright, now sometimes it is asked in exams or any examiner can ask you that if the H2SO4 breaks like this, that it only gives one H plus ion, then what will be the n factor of sulfuric acid? Then the answer will be 1. But in general, while we do any type of numericals of solutions or in general also, because sulfuric acid is a strong acid, we take the n factor of sulfuric acid as 2. Alright, because it is a strong acid, so it is believed that it will dissociate completely. Alright, it will break off completely to give 2 H plus ions. Okay, so the n factor of sulfuric acid is 2. Alright, now let us see the third example, which is H3PO4. Alright, so basically what would be the n factor of this? So basically if you want to tell what is the n factor of any acid, so the best way is to draw the structure of that acid and then try to find it, because the number of hydrogens basically attached to oxygen, those hydrogens get liberated as H plus ions. As you can see in H3PO4, the structure is somewhat like this. Alright, so you see that 3 hydrogens are attached to oxygen. Alright, so these hydrogens are quite easy to be liberated as H plus ions. So this H3PO4 in water will liberate 3 H plus ions. Alright, it will give 3 H plus ions. So that's why, as you can see in the reaction also, so that's why the N factor is 3. Okay, now let us see H3PO3. So H3PO3, the structure is somewhat this. Okay, now you see that only 2 hydrogens are there which is attached to oxygen. Alright, there are only 2 hydrogens which are attached to oxygen. So it will liberate only 2 hydrogen or 2 H plus ions basically. Alright, so the N factor will be 2. Now the third hydrogen will not be liberated as H plus because the hydrogen is directly attached to the central atom, which is phosphorus. So its bond dissociation enthalpy is very high as compared to the hydrogen oxygen bond. Alright, that's why the 2 hydrogens attached to oxygens get liberated easily as H plus ions, whereas the phosphorus hydrogen bond does not break. Alright, because of its high dissociation enthalpy. Okay, so this H3PO3 will give 2 H plus ions, so its N factor will be 2. Now the next example is H3PO2. Alright, now you see in this structure there is only one hydrogen oxygen bond. Alright, only one hydrogen is attached to oxygen, rest 2 are attached to phosphorus directly. Alright, so these 2 bonds will not break. The only bond will break is this HO bond. Alright, so the hydrogen will be liberated and H2PO2 minus will be your anion. Alright, so H3PO2 in water will give only 1 H plus ion. Alright, so its N factor will be 1. Okay, now let us see further. So you might also know that the oxides of non-metals are acidic in nature. Alright, now here we are talking about the N factor of acids, so we should also include the oxides of non-metals because they are acidic in nature. Alright, oxides like sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, sulfur trioxide. Alright, so let us see what are the N factor of these elements or these molecules. So because it is an acid, we will react it with a base. Alright, so sulfur dioxide, when we'll react it with sodium hydroxide, so you see the reaction somewhat looks like this, that because it is an acid base reaction, so you will get water and a salt, right? So that you got here, this is a water and this is a salt. Okay, now you see that I have told you in the beginning only that the definition of basicity is the number of H plus ion given or the number of OH minus ions attracted by an acid. That is known as its basicity, right? Now in the above examples it is giving H plus ions. Alright, now in these examples like sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, it is not giving H plus ions, instead it is attracting OH minus ions towards itself. You see that in sulfur dioxide and sodium hydroxide the final product is like this, right? Water and this salt, right? So you see that the sulfur dioxide had attracted 2 OH minus ions towards itself, right? The sulfur dioxide has attracted 2 OH minus ions towards itself to give the following product, right? So that's why the N factor of sulfur dioxide is 2. Alright, same case goes with carbon dioxide also. So you see that in carbon dioxide the product is water and sodium carbonate. Alright, so here also you see that carbon dioxide has attracted 2 OH minus ions towards itself, right? So that's why its N factor is also 2. Okay, now you see sulfur trioxide. Here also the same case arises that sulfur trioxide attracts 2 OH minus ions towards itself. Alright, and you will get your final product like this. So that's why its N factor is also 2. Okay, I hope these molecules and their N factor are clear to you. Now let us see an exception. Alright, so the exception is basically boric acid, which is H3BO3. Alright, now you see the structure of H3BO3, the structure somewhat looks like this. So according to the structure, it is clear that boric acid should have 3 N factor. Alright, because there are 3 oxygen hydrogen bonds, so 3 H plus ions should be liberated when we dissolve boric acid in water. Alright, but this is not the case because boric acid is an Lewis acid. That means it is an lone pair acceptor. All right. So whenever you dissolve boric acid in water, see my cursor. All right, this is basically the reaction of boric acid. So when you react boric acid with water, what will happen? That the OH minus of water will give lone pair to boron. All right, the OH group of water will give lone pair to boron to form a complex like this, and it will liberate one H plus ion. All right, so the final reaction somewhat looks like this: a complex of boron and H plus ions. So basically it is liberating only one H plus ion. All right, so the N factor of boric acid is 1. All right, so I hope these are clear to you. So that's all about the N factor of acids. Now let us talk about the N factor of bases. All right, so you see, the N factor of bases is nothing but the acidity of bases. Now what is acidity of bases? So the acidity of bases is nothing but the number of OH minus ion it liberates in water, or the number of H plus ions it attracts. All right, just the vice versa of basicity of acids, right? The acidity of bases is that the number of OH minus ions it liberates in water, or the number of H plus ions it attracts. All right, that is known as the acidity of bases. All right, so the N factor of bases is the acidity of its bases. All right, so now let us see the examples, then it will be more clear to you. So the first example is sodium hydroxide. All right, so the sodium hydroxide in water will break like sodium plus and OH minus, so it liberates one OH minus, so the acidity is 1, right? The acidity of sodium hydroxide is 1, so the N factor is 1. All right, the magnesium hydroxide, it will break as Mg2 plus and 2 OH minus. All right, so the acidity is 2, so the N factor is 2. Aluminium hydroxide, it will break as aluminium 3 plus and 3 OH minus ions, so the acidity is 3, so the N factor is 3. Now, ammonium hydroxide, so ammonium hydroxide breaks like NH4 plus and OH minus. All right, so acidity is 1, N factor is 1. Now the fifth example is ammonia. So ammonia is a weak base basically. All right, so we will treat it with an acid. So we are treating ammonia with hydrochloric acid. So what it will form? It will form NH4 plus and Cl minus. So you see that in the first 4 examples it is liberating OH minus ions. All right, in the fifth example it is attracting H plus ion. All right, you see the NH3, one H plus has been attracted from the hydrochloric acid towards NH3, right? That's why it is formed NH4 plus, right? That HCl will break as H plus and Cl minus, ammonia being a Lewis base. All right, so nitrogen will give lone pair to that H plus and attract it, right? So the ammonia is attracting H plus ion, and how many H plus ions? 1 H plus ion. So the acidity of ammonia is 1, right? So the N factor is 1. All right, I hope this is clear to you. So now let us see the N factor for atoms. All right, so let us see. So the N factor of atoms is nothing but the valency of that atom. All right, for example, if we talk about sodium, so the valency of sodium is 1, so the N factor is 1. If we talk about the valency of carbon is 4, so the N factor is 4. All right, that's how the N factor of atoms are calculated. So let us see group wise. All right, so in group 1, these are the elements of group 1: lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium. All right, all have valency 1. It is a group 1 element, so all have a valency 1. All right, so the N factor will be 1. In the second group, there will be beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. All right, all these elements have valency 2. Basically they have 2 electrons in the outermost shell, right? That's why their valency is 2, so the N factor will also be 2. All right, group 13 elements are boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, and so on. So basically the N factor is 3 because their valency is 3, you know that, right? In group 14 there is carbon, silicon, germanium, what is this, I don't know the name of SN, and lead, and so on. So basically in these elements they have valency 4, right? They have 4 valence electrons in the outermost shell, so their valency is 4, so the n factor is also 4. In group 5 there is nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic and so on. So basically you see in nitrogen there are 5 valence electrons, alright, but the n factor is not the number of valence electrons, the n factor is the valency. So the valency of nitrogen is 3, right? You know that, right? That you have to 8 minus 5 basically. The outermost shell can accommodate 8 electrons at max, right? And there are 5. So the valency is 3, right? 8 minus 5, 3. So nitrogen valency 3, phosphorus valency 3 and so on. So the n factor of group 15 elements, basically nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony, bismuth. So the n factor is 3, right? In group 16 the elements are oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium, polonium. So the basically the valency of oxygen, sulfur and so on are 2, all right? The ground level basically the ground level valency we are talking about, not the excited level valency, all right? In the ground level the valency is 2, right? So the group 16 elements, the n factor will be 2. Now comes the halogen group, which is group 17, which is fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, right? So their valency is 1, right? Because there are 7 electrons in the outermost shell and there will be only 1 needed to fulfill the shell to have a noble gas configuration. So the valency is 1, right? So the n factor of halogen group, which is group 17, is 1, all right? Now let us see the n factor for homonuclear polyatoms. Basically what are homonuclear polyatoms? Basically polyatoms having same elements like oxygen, O2, right? One is oxygen atom, the oxygen molecule is O2. Same case goes with hydrogen, H2, chlorine, Cl2. So basically these are polyatoms having same nuclei or same atoms. So the nucleus is basically same, homonuclear, that's why it is known as, because the 2 atoms involved in a molecule have same nucleus, right? Both are chlorine atoms in a chlorine molecule, so the nucleus is also same, so that's why it is known as homonuclear polyatoms, all right? So basically what are the n factor, or basically how to calculate the n factor of such polyatoms, basically homonuclear polyatoms, all right? So a general formula is that if the polyatom is like this, see my cursor, I am rotating it, AY, all right? So if the general formula of polyatom is AY, so the n factor, the formula of n factor will be y into n factor of A. A will be the atom of any group from the above, right? So the n factor will be its valency, all right? So that will be the n factor of A. And what is y? That the number of atoms involved in a molecule, all right? So I will give you some examples, then it will be more clear. Like you see in chlorine, Cl2. So basically the n factor of chlorine atom is 1, right? The n factor of chlorine atom is 1. Now how many number of atoms are involved in a molecule? 2, right? So the n factor of chlorine molecule will be 2 into 1, right? So the n factor of chlorine will be 2. Now same case goes with fluorine. Fluorine, the n factor of fluorine atom is 1. Now 2 atoms are involved in a molecule, so the n factor will be 2 into 1, which is 2, all right? Now oxygen, the n factor of oxygen atom is 2, right? And there are 2 atoms involved in a molecule, so the n factor will be 2 into 2, which is 4, right? Now same case goes with P4, okay? So the phosphorus, the n factor of phosphorus atom is 3, the n factor of phosphorus atom is 3. Now there are 4 atoms involved in a molecule. There are 4 atoms involved in a molecule, all right? So the n factor of P4 molecule as a whole will be 4 into 3, which is 12, all right? So I hope this is clear to you, all right? So that's all for today. I hope you have understood whatever I have taught. If you have understood, do give it a like, subscribe to my channel, and if you have any queries, comment down below. Alright, so now I will see you all in the next video. Till then, this is Akash Shukla signing off.